Mic test 1, 2. Just doing a little mic test here. We'll go live here just in a few short minutes, everybody. Just for a little treat for you guys, I'll go ahead and throw on some Yu-Gi-Oh! While we're waiting to go live here, just for about the next couple of minutes. Bear with me as I double check to make sure all the settings are optimized for your viewing pleasure.
This world ain't right, won't accept it. Negative energy, I expect it. Once it's in your mind, it's infectious. So fight for your life and reject it. You better give me space, I'm protective. My adrenaline spikes when I'm threatened. And if you stay in my way, I'm aggressive. Cause when there's no exit, I'll kill when I'm desperate.
I've created a new dual disc that will completely change how we play the game. Go! Neo Summon! I'm gonna take you down, get my opponents back. Destroy your master!
First, I'll normal summon Murloc, Magical Swordsman, in attack mode. Then I'll set one card face down. Now go, Murloc the Magical Swordsman. Attack and destroy his commander. You'll pay for that. You destroyed my Space Patrol commander, but he'll be back. My draw. I'll activate Monster Reborn in my spell and trap zone. This will let me special summon back my Space Patrol commander. When you activate Monster Reborn, I'll activate my face down card, called by the Grave. This will banish your monster and prevent you from being able to revive it. What? Caused by the grave? I guess I'll just set one monster face down and end my turn. My turn. I'll summon Scourge the Dark Witch. Attack. Now with the power of both my monsters, I'll be able to take out some of your life points. Scourge the Dark Witch. Attack him. Ha!
Activate face down card.
Good morning, everyone. Today we'll be doing a Q&A to answer all of your questions about all the projects that I've been putting out over the shorts in the past few months, and of course all the projects coming up, Duel, all that good stuff. Stick around. I'll put up the different monitors here in just a moment as we change between different topics and subjects. Let me know if the audio for the mic is too loud for your taste, and I will turn it down. Don't forget to support deaf creators, guys. Alright, let's get straight into it. I'm going to switch over to the live Master Duel screen for you guys so that we can see each other. Hello, everyone. There we go. There we go. Alrighty. Just going to hop into a duel real quick. Gotta adjust my actual ears. Alright, cool. So, today we'll be discussing pretty much all of the Duel Disk projects that I've been creating and all that good stuff. In the meantime, I'll be playing some Master Duel just to keep something going here. But for the most part, I think it'll be an interesting stream today because it's going to be unlike my typical gaming streams and stuff. So we'll be checking out all the Duel Disks. If you guys have questions about those particularly or anything, don't be afraid to put them in the chat, even if I get up and away from the computer to show you one of the props or something like that. Then I'll have a streaming device on my wrist where I'll be able to do that so that I can keep in contact with you guys. Just remember there's about a 20-second lag between certain interactions online here. So we'll go ahead and, with that in mind, move forward with the stream. If you've got any questions, don't be afraid to ask them in the stream, please. Let's see. Go ahead and do this. I'm just kind of random. I don't even know what I'm doing here. Get in there. Alright, let's take this. I'd say, oh yeah, I did that last time for the other one. Let's take one next. This is what a set one. Activate the one we set. What's a neat trick is you can actually throw black metal, drag it on there first. But sometimes I'll do this so that if my opponent gets rid of them on their turn, it's kind of a pain in the butt. Another funny thing you can kind of do is always use it for, I think it's the Heretic Dragon or whatever, Heraldic Dragon. There we go. We're going to give some people time to get into the stream. That's kind of why I'm goofing around in some Master Duel. Also, if you'd prefer to watch some Speed Duel or Duel Links, I've got that pulled up. Different stream setup. After this guy duels, I might just literally switch between the two as we go. But yeah, so the real meat of the video is going to be these things back here. I don't know if you can see them from where you're at. Here, I'll switch between screens real quick. I'm not, let's see. What's my camera? Okay, so on that bed over there, you can see all these ridiculous, you see Rick flipping you off, but then you see all the Duel Disk props. So some of them I have in various forms, cardboard to, like this one's fully made. Then I have some that are actually hard prints, and then I've also got some 3D models to show off today. I've got some games to show off, or at least a part of the game for, yes, we're going to negate whatever that is, I don't even care. So yeah, so basically I've got models, the 3D model software, then we'll be showing off the actual Neo Duel Sim for a little while. Basically, just everything we can possibly answer your questions for today. If you've been watching any of the shorts Or if you just popped in and you have a question about something, that's great. That's fine. We can check that stuff out as we go along. Let's see. It says we are not receiving smooth streaming. So if we aren't, let me adjust some settings here. Not sure why, but let's find out. Stream status is poor. Wondering why. They might be running too many things at once. Close this out. There we go. I'm gonna try this, guys, and see if this works a little better. This may not. I also have some nonsense going on at the top of my screen. So I think I was just running Master Duel at the same time, and it uses up quite a bit of my bandwidth while I'm going. So, I mean, it was working just fine the other day, but, you know, whatever. We'll go ahead and just stream some... We had some Duel links going, so I guess I can go ahead and set that up while we're doing this stream. There we go. It's going to take a second to load in. There we go. This didn't seem to have any issues for me the other day. It seems to be the smoother stream setup. Yeah, it's saying it's doing better. Excellent status. Okay, yeah, that's much better. So I guess we're just going to be streaming some of this today while I do the presentation for that stuff in the background. So just let me know if you have any questions about the Duel Disk still. Sorry if you're receiving any buffering still, but it should be solved now, just in case. Also, if you're really bored and we have some downtime, I'll just play this up here on the top screen and let you listen to some Yu-Gi-Oh show while we're, you know, doing anything in between. By the way, if you haven't played the new stuff for the Utopia deck in Duel Links, it's absolutely nuts. And I play this weird variant where I use guard penalty and like Goblinberg or Summoner Monk and stuff like that, and he'll get you a lot of extra cards. Yeah, he knew if he played anything, I was going to get to pop off all the skills of this character. Sad. But what's really cool, so what I was talking about, so if you summon Goblinberg or any other cards that do this similar effect like Summoner Monk, then essentially what's going to happen is you can chain guard penalty to it, and then you'll get to draw a free card because it's like a quick play thing interaction going on here. So we're going to special summon this dude because the other dude can summon himself. I throw in one of these breakers in Utopia decks a lot as spice, kind of, just because you can get a free back row destruction, kind of like mid-summoning, which is cool. So that got us a free draw, a Goblinberg, not really a good card. Actually, we don't want that. We're going direct damage, so you can always trip yourself up. Don't ever go into double if your opponent is open and you can only summon one big Utopia monster. Like, I'll be able to get one more summon out of the turn, but I can just tell by this hand I'm not getting into another big Utopia monster. And see, this one's going to give me this. We got Zexomorph. Oh, I guess, yeah, we can't do that. That's only if they control a monster and we control none. So the first skill is if they control a monster and you control none, then you get a free copy of Utopia on the board. The second skill turns you into Zexal, and the third skill turns any card in your hand. So, like, this is a useless-ass Goblinberg now because I don't need it for the turn, and it turns it into the rank-up magic for me. The good thing about going through this instead of through the double is that you can attack directly. So if I used Utopia double, I wouldn't be able to attack directly. And a lot of people like this Leo dude, and he's great for negating monster effects, but I really like these two. Been using Utopias for about 10 years at the very least, and that's probably like an understatement. I've been using them pretty much since day one that they've come out, and so I built a Utopia deck for pretty much every variant that has existed, you know. And with this one in particular, it's just a toolbox. So basically, if you know what you're doing and you don't just go for the typical summons and typical stuff like that, then you actually have a better toolbox. So like this guy, he can negate their back row cards when he attacks, and that's why I chose him. It's a long way of saying that's why I chose him. But basically, you always want to use Ray V, the one with the scythe, if they have anything negating you from attacking. So like Swords of Revealing Light or something. Ray V is really good at getting around that stuff. Victory is good around getting around monster effects in the back row. And then the Leo Arms is just good for dealing massive amount of damage and negating monster effects. So yeah, it just depends on what you're looking for. But for the most part, I really like the fact that they did an update on this. I was doing a stream the other day just for Duel Links, because I wanted to stream this particular content. Okay, so we're going to go back to our analytics and settings. It's going to fix that for us. Alright. So guys, we're going to give everyone about 15 more minutes to get into the chat. I don't know, that's not going to make much difference in time or anything like that, but I wanted people to start pretty early because we're covering 3 different time zones. So, you know, there's about 3-4 hour difference between those 2 time zones, or 3 time zones. So I want to give everybody a little bit of time to wake up and join us today. And, you know, worst case scenario, if you guys don't have a lot of questions, I'll just show off what I have to show off, dual disc wise and design wise and stuff, and we'll just get through it. And, you know, someone can always come back and rewatch this video later if they're interested. Got a Zexomorph. Gonna turn this. So now, another thing he does, by the way, is he eats their attack points. So if he's gonna attack him, no matter what it is, they can have 10,000 attack. He will deal his base attack to their life points unless you've given him a boost. So like I'm gonna give him this, and the other one he'll have an extra 2,200 points from the 2 cards. But basically what that does is now it's 38, now it's 5,000. So if I attack him right now, I'm going to deal 5,000. So I don't even got to go into the extra like Utopia stuff. You just need to use his effect so that he will absorb their attack and negate their effects. And he needs to have a Utopia as a material to do that. But he's going to have a Utopia as a material basically means if you've used him like 6 times. This is for Master Duel, so you know, where you have 8,000 life points. I'm still surprised that they let a lot of these Utopias keep their abilities, just for like Utopia Double. We were talking about this the other day, but same difference. Let's see here. So I'm going to switch over to a rest cam for you for about 5 minutes maybe, something like that. But don't worry, it's going to be interesting. I got something cool for you to check out, and I'm not just going to keep showing you ads for the movie or anything like that. But I put these together to give you guys something interesting to watch as we transition between things. I'm just going to kick on an extra couple of lights and then bring up the props for you guys to check out so that we can get into the next part of the video. I'll see you in just a second. There we go. We're back in business. So I just wanted to kick on some extra lights for you guys to be able to see all the stuff that I built. And yeah, so I'll be using this to be able to help me with the streams, a little gauntlet to keep up with you guys. And also this thing doubles as part of the props for the dual disc in the back, so that I don't have to be holding my phone or keeping track of anything for the stream. So as soon as we get some more people in, they realize I'm out of the waiting period for this, so we can get into there and answer some questions. I should be able to see them as they pop up. I'd appreciate if anybody just pop up with a comment there so I can see. But I mean, it's all good. I can double check from here. I'm pretty sure it'll work just fine. I'm just gonna say, hey everyone. And that should show me my latency. Cool. No latency. Alright, cool. Let's get into it. So I'm going to go ahead and get back here. My audio is going to be a little different because the mic itself is closer to the computer. So, you know, don't worry too much about that. So, varying from the different sizes of the dual discs, essentially I kind of want to start with what they end up looking like rather than what they look like. Let me tilt my camera up a little bit. So I'd rather start with what they end up kind of looking like rather than what they look like whenever I'm making them, because they kind of are cardboard when you start, you know. So eventually they do get to this kind of quality where it can be made of metal and it can be made of like harder materials. Like this is a bicep for this particular design that goes on my arm here. And so like these things can be printed and fitted to pretty much everybody and are just kind of like accessories that go with the rest. Stuff like this actually is a hard piece that has a purpose, because this one here locks in, for example, the dual discs blade. So like this one's actually made of metal and reinforced with hard plastic zones and stuff like that. So, you know, once we get into printing and everything, hopefully everything will be closer to this quality, to where whenever you play cards on them, you know, you can play them upside down. You can see it's still on there. It's going to take quite a bit to get that card to come out of there. In fact, you kind of have to be the one to remove it and put it in. So you can kind of see how that works. And all these do is, we'll keep these around for props for the day so I can show you for them how all this stuff works. But that's pretty much all these are for. What all these are for is to show off like the example of what the end game of a lot of these are, is to have the dual disc at better materials, better props for the show. We did do the season 1 with kind of like these props, which are they're nice looking for the most part on camera. They're not horrible, but they're still just like hard foam and stuff like that. Like this one in particular is just like a hard foam dagger. And don't get me wrong, it works. It's a functional prop. The main benefit to these ones being made out of stuff like foam is that they are not heavy. So like when you're, you know, being like the character in the show, you need to flip around or something, they're not like heavy at all, and you can draw cards and play on them pretty easy. That one there that I was just showing off is the one I have the 3D model of that we'll get into the printer for. This one here is one of my favorite ones we use for the show that will be out in the summer. This one has a dagger, like arm dagger design, so you'll put this one on your arm completely, and then it folds like that into a dual disc as well. So basically all of the designs have some kind of unique feel, some kind of interesting thing going on with them. You know, this is one of the ones I showed off in a short recently, but it's a giant Buster Blade style dual disc, and it has a giant handle that pops out so that you have a massive dual disc sword. And that's pretty much the gist of the Dual Discs and Duel, which is the second season. Once that comes out, that's like not even in production yet; it's in pre-production. So that's what all the ones you guys seeing on the shorts are from. All these new ones, all these cardboard ones. Those are for the new show because I haven't finished compiling them all together to kind of make the materials I want, especially for ones like this where it's just absolutely massive. So this one's a big shield. And because it's so big, I'm going to have to create like the wings and swords and stuff that pop off out of a different material. Even if I go with metal, like I did for this one, I went with actual metal. So that one, that's actual steel. So like if I went with something that big, it would still have to be like that thin. And I just don't think that'd be great. So probably for this one I'll use some kind of hard foam, like this one's made out of like a super light hard foam, and it's a giant dual disc sword as well. So this one was meant to be a pop out like fusion sword, Final Fantasy style, and yeah, it's got 3 zones. It has a rotatable deck box, and then the top of the sword actually has more zones that pop out. So like this one was meant to be wielded kind of like a scythe in front of you, but then to pop it out and you'd have like a sword kind of thing going on. Pretty neat design overall. One of my favorites. Pretty easy to like rotate and move your deck box. But also it collapsed so small that it's actually small enough to be almost the same size as a dual disc. And actually what's kind of neat is I've got up here is one of the 5Ds dual disc from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. So this is actually a deck box from Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds. And you'll see that that is kind of big. So my aim was to make the deck box itself actually smaller than the original deck box, so that would make sense to fit it onto your arms. And the thing is too, with a lot of the original dual discs, especially like the live ones, they had this weird wing grip thing, and the Proplica, they fixed this by putting a bar on there that you could hold. But I was like, if you've got to go through all this just to hold a bar and like try to hold cards anyway, you might as well do something else with it. And I always just thought it'd be really cool if they took a dual disc, because it was already built like a blade, to put some zones on it, turn into like a sword-like device where you could hold some cards, or you played fewer cards at a time, so you'd only need to hold like 1 or 2, and then you could play the cards on the blade or something of that nature. And then this one's one of my simple designs. It's basically just the deck box and graveyard with field spell. Now I made this one to be able to attach to other stuff like the thing I have on my arm. But basically that one, it's got like a Velcro strap, and you can attach it to this one, that one. Can you be more specific? You can attach that deck box to this one, which is like another arm. Let's see. I think between this one and the large fusion sword one is probably some of the better like builds out of hard foam, because like I just dropped it and it did nothing to it, you know what I'm saying? But that's kind of like the nature of these ones. They're really solid. It reminds me of being built like a GameCube kind of. This one is the one we've got the 3D print of, or the 3D print kit kind of ready. So what I'll do is I'll actually bring that up real quick so you can kind of see the difference between taking it from this to that. So I think I've got it pulled up already. Let me see here. I'm going to switch screens, screen share. We're going to go back to our Dagger dual disc here. Alright, so in this program you can see I've actually kind of created the same thing. Okay, so it's basically the same dagger box with a slightly different design, because someone else actually did a lot of the deck box builds and stuff like that. I just reshaped everything, built the handle, gave it a spike, all that kind of stuff. So I'm kind of going to redo this deck box to where it's more like mine. And the way I've done mine is it's just 2 deck boxes kind of like put together. And then the way that the mouth works is they actually both push towards the center. So normally they would both push down, but I decided to make them both push towards the center so that if I was holding this and I'm using it like as a deck box and then putting something in the graveyard, it kind of works like that. Pretty simple design overall, but you can kind of see how we transferred this design and turn it into a 3D print ready design so that we can have like a dual disc dagger. So just when you're looking at these cardboard things and thinking this guy needs to like go fucking touch grass, I believe that when you see the final product, you can kind of see like where my mind's at when I'm making this kind of crazy stuff. Is that the final product hopefully will look a lot cooler, and we've been getting asked quite a lot of questions about like printing and stuff like that. So if there's anything you're interested in, go ahead and drop a question about it or anything like that. If not, we can move on to the next topic until I get some more questions throughout the next couple of months and weeks, because the likelihood is I will, and I'll be doing another live stream just to answer your guys' questions probably within the next 2 months or so anyways. So I'm going to go ahead and show off the other dual disc designs that I have as we go along, and then we can just go to the next topic. So let me come over here and switch over. Like I said, just keep this whole thing in mind as we go along, okay? Alright, next up. So this one is the Shield dual disc, like I was saying before, and the idea is that the character will be able to take these off and turn it into multiple weapons where they have like a buckler. They'll have a couple of these, so this will be like a sword itself. I'll lock in that way, and then the character will have a couple of extra swords. And the idea behind how these ones will get played is that on the one of the swords you'll have an actual dual disc built into one of the blades like my other ones. But because of the way the character will be holding this one, here with my streaming gauntlet on. So this character will be holding it. Let's slide on there. Anyway, when he's holding the shield inward like this, I kind of wanted it to where that dual disc would be accessible, and that's why they're diagonally built. So like, if he was gonna hold it like this, I probably would have built him straight. The idea was that he'd actually be holding the shield in front of him. So go ahead and switch these around. Right. So if the character's holding the shield straight like this, I wanted him to be able to draw cards from like a deck box within the shield and then play them. And to make that make sense, they had to be kind of diagonal. You know what I'm saying? So additionally, we wanted this character to be able to disassemble the dual disc, toss another character, the dual disc itself, and be able to still fight using their melee half of their dual disc. That was kind of the idea behind this one. Also, the fact that it turns into a giant axe was pretty cool. So, like, both the blades pop out and turn into this giant axe kind of thing going on. And then it transforms into all these little weapons. I made a lot of shorts on that one, so I'm not going to answer a whole bunch on it until I get some, like, questions about it specifically, so I'm not going on and on and on about it. But it was pretty unique design. It's kind of why I actually left that one being so interesting on its own. And this one was actually built next, but I didn't want to go crazy on this design. I had a few more things I could have built into it, but I was just like, nah, this is probably enough, just being a giant sword. So, but what's really cool is the way this one stops itself. So, like, if you wanted to pop it out, it kind of stops itself because of the way I built the guard. The guard runs into this, and it stays straight, so that even if you were holding it kind of like this, it kind of keeps the weight, because this is an odd kind of handle system already. I wanted this to look more like a magical sword or a rune sword, something like that. All the characters from Duel will have specific unique characteristics. The character that you'll be seeing in Neo Duel, the primary movie, is going to go on to use this one in Duel. The real cool thing about this one is the unique deck box system. So on the bottom of that rune kind of circular structure, you'll see there's a deck box. I haven't built a tongue or anything or teeth into the deck box, but you can kind of see how it would operate, being that the character, when he's dueling, he would be basically left-handed. So as you hold the sword in your left and you draw cards and you play cards on the blade, you're left-handed. You're not really like expected to swing, but you kind of could, and your guard is on your left, right? But then if you are fighting like melee, the idea is that he'll be fighting some like grunt characters or whatever with the melee. So then he would be using the right-handed kind of form for the melee, and then switching to left hand to draw and then play cards. And then for big like special moments in the show, or special moments where he like gets OP, we'll transform it into this. Now again, imagine this as a 3D print and not a giant hunk of boggin cardboard. But I mean, it's, you know, once you kind of get that out of your head that it's cardboard, I think it's kind of a cool thing to imagine, just as one big 3D print that's going to take me probably 8 or 9 sections to be able to print out and pop together. But I really like this design overall, just because it's got like a buckler in the front, which means that if I was battling with this thing against an actual enemy or whatever, I've got like this guard on the bottom, and it kind of gives you like this good like guard smack kind of thing, and then the character has the ability to just like turn it into something big, do big sweeping strikes, and folding it back. I just really like this design overall. It's really easy to build, and it's just super satisfying making all these like smooth cuts on the inside, the way I made this gear system work. I mean, I just really enjoy figuring this kind of stuff out for no reason. But yeah, so I mean, like eventually, hopefully that one will at least go up to like something like this, where I can make it look a little nicer and make it to where it has like a bit of a shine to it. So, you know, once we get into our version 2, version 3s, they look a little better overall. And then once we get into our hard plastics, they'll be more something like this. So, but yeah, I mean, overall, that's most of the dual disc designs that I have right now. Unfortunately, I had to scratch a lot of the other ones that I had previously in different videos and stuff, because I had to move, so just couldn't keep a lot of them. So all these are like fresh start dual disc. A little bit of issues with some of the latency, it seems, but just from probably running too many things at once, if I had to guess. But alright, so we're going to get into answering some questions about Neo Duel itself. I'm going to go ahead and try and open the program I'm using to run some Neo Duel streaming kind of ish software for you guys. If you're not familiar with what Neo Duel is, we can go ahead and answer as many questions you guys have about that as well. so the other day I showed off a little bit of this, but today I'd like to show it off a little bit more as to actually what is Neo Duel, kind of how can you play it at home, you know, anything you guys want to know about it. Today's a good day to get some like live or card pool sites that make sense for this. So basically that's kind of how Neo Duel, the format, came about, is having a small enough way to play Yu-Gi-Oh that you can get away with it at the restaurant with physical cards. Because I already know some people are going to say, well, why didn't you just play Duel Links or Master Duel on your phone? Sometimes you just didn't have the internet or whatever, so like this was just a fun way. Plus there's just something about playing the actual game with cards that just was funner, and I like to bring the cards with me and stuff, so this was a great way to do that. So let's talk about what was Neo Duel's rules, how does this one singular column thing work, and if it's, you know, only one column, how do you play a lot of the cards? We can answer a lot of questions I've gotten over the last couple of months about how to play the card game. You know, like one I get a lot is how do you play God cards and stuff if there's not 3 monster zones, and we'll get into all that. So first, let's talk about Neo Duel's basic rule sets and all that good stuff. I think that'll really help you guys understand kind of a lot of the basics for this. So this is Neo Duel's basic rules right here. And you'll play exactly like you do Speed Duel and Master Duel, so it's still Yu-Gi-Oh! It's not like, I get this coming a lot, that's kind of like Rush Duels. Not exactly, but kind of. Let's see here. I see that we're still experiencing some buffering, so I'm going to go ahead and try to get this reconnected for you guys, because it seems... There we go. Alright guys, so I'm going to go ahead and continue the stream to finish it out so that later on people can still watch it. But if it's buffering on you right now, I'm terribly sorry. There's not much I can do about that in the current settings that I have. I'm connected to the best internet connection I can be and not running anything too crazy on a pretty powerful computer. So this is a little ridiculous, but it might just be my time of day that I'm streaming, so we'll see. So let's talk about all the rule changes to Master Duel. Each player only has 1 monster and spell trap zone column, as you can see. Normal monsters do not need a tribute to be summoned. So in this deck, I've actually compiled a bunch of the cards that we can use for Neo Duel, and just to be able to show you guys the kind of like deck building process you might go through whenever deciding to build. So it's not suck in a lot of you know, Master Duel formats is that it's like Primite. They have to give the monsters this whole other gimmick to kind of like work, and so that's what we did here to a degree. Normal monsters inherently don't do much, but I'm going to pull One Red Eyes here so that we can use him as an example, and then we're going to flip this over and play some Yu-Gi-Oh with it. So I think he's actually supposed to be with that stack, yes. So in a normal Neo Duel, you're going to draw 2 cards for your turn, right? So if you have drawn a normal monster or whatever, that monster can be summoned without a tribute, and it can be summoned to either extra monster zone or normal or the main monster zone. An effect monster, a normal monster that equal the total stats. And that's basically all Neo monsters are in IRL, is just beat sticks, just monsters that are able to beat over your opponent. And so naturally I also wanted to explain, like, the strongest one in the game is probably Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, because he has 4,500 attack and 3,800 defense and no effect. He's completely vanilla here in that scenario. So like FHD, 5-Headed Dragon wouldn't work here, because 5-Headed Dragon's whole thing is that he's got a minor effect. Let's see. And guys, if this stream is really rough, I will come back to it and do it again here in about an hour. I don't mind coming back another one. We'll stream all day if we have to. But yeah, so basically, this would be like the Neo version. He'd have 8300, and that's essentially what that would be. So like he you know, that's the difference between those two. I might give this another go here in a second and come back to explain some more of this stuff in the stream about the game. So if you happen to catch this stream, I want you to catch the next one as well, and we'll discuss more of this stuff. I'm going to try and fix a few things with my streaming settings. They were doing just fine before I started. I'm not sure what's going on with them, but we're lagging. It's killing me. So I do want to get that fixed, but we're going to come right back to it, alright?